You have an electric furnace, or what did you have in those days?
Coal.
And was it a furnace?
No, it was stoves.
Yeah, and how many stoves were in the house?
Three stoves.
What rooms were they in?
Kitchen had a cook stove, and a soft coal burner was in the living room, I guess, or dining. We called it dining room, and then in our living room, that we called the parlor. There was a hard coal.
And then that one wasn't as maybe stoked up as much, was it? The living room one?
Well, it was always warm,
Yeah.
but we dump a pail of coal in the morning in it, and that would burn all day. And in the night we'd dump another one, and that would burn at night.
Mm-hmm.
And would that take the heat upstairs then too?
No, that took no heat up there. It took it in Dad's bedroom when he left the door open. The door was closed through the day, but when he go to bed, he'd leave it open, so that he got some little heat.
And how did your bedrooms feel at night?
Our bedroom
Upstairs.
was cold.
And did you have an electric mattress pad in those days? How did you keep warm?
We slept together.
Yeah. Who did you sleep with?
I slept with all of my brothers. First brother that I remember, I slept with Henry. And after Henry was sick and that he got away and he couldn't, and I got to sleep with Charlie. And George started working out and hired a man. And when George came back and Henry got a little better, why then George and Henry slept together. I still had to stay with Charlie.
But then did you sleep with George at some point?
Well, maybe occasionally, but not a steady.
Of course, one night when you were much older, didn't you, when you went to see him down in Champaign, did you sleep together that night, or did he sleep with you in your...
We had one bed.
And
yes, in our bed there, he slept with me too.
When you lived on Thelma Avenue here in Manhattan after Mother had died, he came to visit you, didn't he?
Yeah, he slept with me.
Yeah. And tell us about the first night that you had to, when you were a little boy, that you went upstairs to sleep. Was there any special occasion about that?
Well, that night, I slept with Mother downstairs. That's where I slept. But they wanted, and Grandma was sick. We knew that. And that night I was supposed to go up. But who I was supposed to sleep with, I don't know.
How old were you?
Well, she died in 1902. I was probably was 4 years old. Yeah, I was 4 years old because she died in October.
And that was your Grandma Bobzin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I couldn't go to sleep. I don't know who I was in bed with. Well, after the rest of got to sleep, I crawled out of bed. I don't know, I walked down with my bare feet downstairs, and I found my way down, and I went into Grandma's bedroom, and there she was laying and just stretched out. I don't remember whether her eyes was closed or not. But I never dreamt she was dead. I even took hold of her hand. I can remember that. She was dead.
Yeah, but see, you didn't know what dead meant when you were 4 years old.
Yes, I knew they were.
You think you did?
I think I knew what dead meant.
Yeah.
And I don't think they knew I was down there at all. That I came down.
Yeah, but I wonder if you went back upstairs or whether
No, I didn't go back upstairs.
somebody took you, I bet, in their bed with you then.
I don't know what happened that. I
Yeah.
don't remember, but I didn't go upstairs.
Describe that long lane that, that went up to your folks'
Well, that
place.
was just a lane.
I know, but was it 100 feet or what would you say? It was
I
a
would
quarter
say-
mile?
No, it was 100 rods.
100 rods.
Maybe 110 rods.
What do you think, Ted? 110 rods is equal to,
Well, 160 rods is a mile.
I see,
Or half a mile.
Yeah.
320.
yeah.
Well, we was.
So then it's more than a quarter mile.
Yeah,
looking
it
at.
was over a quarter of a mile because
Yeah.
it wasn't too far to surround the fence towards the south.
And how was that in the winter to get in and out of there, or in the muddy
It
spring?
was bad.
Yeah,
You just went through with horses. There wasn't no automobiles went through there.
Did the horses even have trouble at
Oh,
times?
no.
No.
Sometimes you got too
Of
much
course, the
snow.
wheels too would have trouble maybe.
Well, they would turn.
Or would you have a sleigh sometimes?
Yes, we had sleighs too.
Mhm.
And at that time, we had a lane, but we didn't have fence. and we could get over further over in the field, and lots of times we drove over in this.
Oh, so you'd be out of the
Yeah,
lane.
we'd get out of the deepest snow.
And what were some of the horses' names that used to pull the farm
Oh, I
equipment?
don't know why you have to.
Well, I've always enjoyed hearing about, was there one named Topsy?
Yes.
Yeah. And there was Barney?
Charlie got Barney when we got married.
Uh-huh.
I'd give him Barney.
And then I remember,
That was Charlie's driving horse always.
see, I remember when you told me about Jess.
Yeah,
Jess was the one that gave you trouble, huh?
Well, she didn't give us too much trouble. Henry and I broke her. She was a 4-year-old, and Henry worked on the cart all spring, you know, to get it together.
Building one, you mean?
Building one, yeah, to ride wheels on, the shafts and everything, and we would first we'd drive Jess and Prince together. Then after a while we put Jess in between the shafts, and Prince had to walk along the side. Everything went good. Well, finally we didn't let Prince there. We drove Jess without it. She never put up a battle at all with her.
And then what happened one day when your dad said, I want you to take so-and-so to school? Wasn't that the way it went?
No, he didn't know anything about what we was doing.
Right, and so anyway, he said, who did he want you to take to school?
Albert.
Yeah, and so then what happened?
Then we used a cart. That was a cart that wasn't a homemade cart. It was a cart, you know, we had there.
Mm-hmm. And you hooked Jess up to it?
Jess up. Dad didn't say a word. He just stood in the yard with his mouth and looking, and we never said one word, and he didn't either.
Did all three of you get in the cart then?
Yeah, well, we had to drive up to the house, and,
Yeah.
and Elda come out, got in, and Dad never said a word. He didn't.
And you took her to school, huh?
Took her to school. He never did ask how when that was going on. But she was pretty good then. She behaved real good.
What happened Christmas morning at your house? I mean, would you be upstairs in your beds, and would you kind of like be listening for a sign that you could come down?
No, we got all our orders not to come down. You know, Dad, we'd always have some little instrument, mouth organ or whistle or something, and when everything was prepared downstairs, then Dad would start to blow the whistle, and then the kids would come down. We generally were dressed, ready to come.
Waiting at the... And what would you find sometimes?
Well, then all our gifts, and we
Yeah.
got gifts and candy and nuts, and everybody had their own sack with candy and nuts and just stuff. And we had little gifts.
I was gonna say, when you say all our gifts, I mean, there was maybe 2 packages for each one or something, would there be? Would they be wrapped up in Christmas paper?
Well, I don't say it was just
Yeah.
wrapped. It was a new tie or something like that.
And would it be by your place, did you used to say?
Where everybody sat. We
Where-
all had our own places at noon where we sat.
Mm-hmm.
That would be,
There at breakfast, right?
yeah, any meal.
Would there be, like, would you have gotten anything for your mother and dad, do you think?
We didn't get anything.
No. You never had any,
They
maybe gave something to each other or something?
Well,
And then what about Easter? Was there anything special about
Well,
Easter?
years ago, we a few times we had always little not toolboxes, but with boxes where pictures, we'd have pictures in. And them boxes we would carry out and set out. And if it didn't look, too much like snow,
Mm-hmm.
if it was going to snow, we wouldn't want to get our stuff wet.
And
Of
what-
course, I don't know, Mother and Dad must have put us eggs in, we put the eggs in.
When you say toolboxes, when you say pictures, do you?
We had pictures that we maybe cut out papers and all
Yeah,
that.
I see.
They belonged to us.
Yeah.
Each one had their own.
Each one had their own,
Yeah.
yeah. That isn't that little wooden box that we
No,
still have here.
Like cardboard.
Yeah, I see. And then, of course, you went to church on probably Easter, and did you tell me once that they even went to church on Easter Monday?
Yeah, as a rule, church was in Frankfurt on Sunday, and Monday we'd have church, they call it Easter Monday.
Yeah.
You'd be communion
And that one day, I think, that was when Elda had begged to go to school, wasn't it? On Easter Monday,
Yeah.
yeah. And was she kind of a little tyke then?
And she was, I guess she was,
Maybe 5 years old, probably?
she was 6 years old when she started.
In October, yeah.
And I didn't either, as far as that was concerned, and it didn't take no long. I could see she was crying.
Mm-hmm. So did you get up on your own to go?
I never went near her. I just left her, and then that day, the first recess, or was it at noon?
But remember about the red handkerchief, did you have to take it?
Well, we went, yes, I guess I had to take that over to her. I guess I gave her, because she didn't have no handkerchief. I scolded her when we went, that she didn't have a handkerchief. Oh, she wouldn't need no handkerchief. She did, maybe she was all right, but she needed a handkerchief all right. But that wouldn't, I don't, gee, the elder hear that stuff she
Oh,
did?
that's
That would make her mad.
no, that's a little story about when she was a little girl.
Well,
And then, but anyway, then when they came,
nobody's business.
yeah, but when they came past then, weren't they going home from,
They were coming home from church.
yeah, and they went by?
And they went past the school. Well, when Elda saw
Her parents, yeah.
coming, she got her lunch bucket and she went out to the road and she got in the buggy. And
That was the end of that school day, wasn't it?
that was in the spring, and then when school started in fall, in September, we had an awful time.
She was
She
not
was
interested.
absolutely not going to church or going to school. Mother even had to walk to school with her.
Yeah.
And then Mother told the teacher, if you leave her set by Frank, she'll probably be all right.
Mm-hmm.
So they did that.
Yeah, she didn't have any problems.
She didn't have no problem. But she wouldn't go outside to play with the kids and all. She'd always stay at the blackboard and
Yeah, she liked to do that.
well, the kids was too smart for her too. They didn't.
And she
they
was
didn't want
she
her.
was
She
one of the
little.
littlest ones.
Yeah, she was little.
Yeah, it kind of. What about Halloween? Did you have some?
We never went out Halloween.
And
Never.
did you have any? Did you really know what Halloween was at school
We knew
or
what
anything?
Halloween was, but yeah, they dump out the toilets. But,
Oh, they'd overturn
but
the.
other people wouldn't.
Yeah, you mean the toilets at the school? They'd even
Yes,
turn
they
over the
tried to
outhouses.
tip them over.
Yeah.
But no, we didn't have nothing to do with that. That
Yeah.
was a bigger.
Bigger kids, huh? And then what about 4th of July? Was that celebrated when you were a young person?
Yeah, that was generally celebrated.
But that was kind of one of the high spots, wasn't it?
Well, we would go to Frankfurt to the 4th of July picnic,
Mm-hmm.
and we'd horse and buggy, and then we'd get home, and then neighbors would come over, and Dad would have really a supply of fireworks there to
Oh.
show off with
Mm-hmm.
Roman candles and skyrockets.